All right, let's get right into it. You know, for any of us who love tech, there's just something magical about the idea of an all-in-one home server. I'm talking about a single beefy box that can run your smart home, stream all your movies, back up every bit of your data, and yeah, even keep an eye on your front door. It's pretty much the ultimate DIY dream, and today we are digging into a build that just absolutely nails this vision. And this quote right here, it just says it all, doesn't it? It is catnip. We can't get enough of the idea of centralizing everything. And the Proxmox build we're about to break down is the one that's been getting all the buzz online, mostly because it just perfectly captures this appeal. And of course, it sparked a ton of great conversations and, a few healthy debates along the way. So let's pop the hood and see what's going on. What actually makes this server tick? We're going to look at the hardware choices and the, frankly, ambitious list of jobs this machine is supposed to handle 24/7. Now, what's so cool about these parts is the balance they strike. This isn't some crazy expensive, off-the-charts enterprise setup. Nope, we're looking at a super respectable Intel i7 9700 on a solid Z390 motherboard. These are powerful, but they're consumer-grade parts. And check out that storage mix. You've got 4 Samsung SSDs for all the speedy stuff, and then 3 massive 8TB Seagate Skyhawk drives for the bulk data. It's a really smart blend of performance and, not breaking the bank. And believe me, this machine is earning its keep. It's not just sitting there looking pretty. It's running Home Assistant for all the smart home automation. It's the Plex server for movies. It's a backup server. It's handling the CCTV feeds. And it's acting as the main network storage device. I mean, that is a heavy, always-on workload that demands some serious stability and performance. But this is where things get really interesting. No build is perfect, right? And this one definitely sparked some fascinating discussions online. This is the good stuff, the specific choices that had other home labbers either nodding along in agreement or, well, furiously typing out why they do it differently. And first up, we've got a classic home lab dilemma. See, the builder is running Proxmox Backup Server, or PBS, right on the main machine itself. Now, is that a genius move for simplicity, or is it just playing with fire? Okay, so on one hand, keeping everything in one box is just easier. It's cheaper, less to manage. But on the other hand, the best practice says you keep your backups on a totally separate device. And why is that? Well, because if this main server has a catastrophic failure, like the power supply completely fries the motherboard, your backups could go right down with it. It's the ultimate trade-off, pure convenience versus true, hardcore disaster recovery. And that leads us straight into our second debate, which was probably the most heated one of all, ZFS. It's an absolute powerhouse of a file system, loved for its data integrity features. But here's the thing. It was designed for enterprise-grade hardware. This build is running it on consumer Samsung SSDs. And let me tell you, the community had some thoughts. So the argument from the skeptical side goes like this. Consumer SSDs just aren't built for the intense, constant read-write cycles that ZFS can throw at them. The fear is you'll get premature wear, and maybe even performance issues. This commenter, for example, found they actually got better results by just switching back to a more standard file system like LVM. But then, just when you think the case is closed, you get this incredible counterpoint. Someone running hundreds, not one or two, hundreds of these exact same consumer drives in ZFS arrays for 2 years straight with 0 failures. What was their secret? Meticulous management. They were tracking everything. So the lesson here isn't that it's impossible, but that you're taking on some risk if you're not paying very, very close attention. And finally, we have to talk about the question that haunts every single home lab enthusiast's dreams, the power bill, right? Running the machine like this with a dedicated GPU and multiple spinning hard drives 24/7, that is not free. With electricity costs going up all the time, it's a super practical, real-world factor that can make or break a build like this for a lot of people. So, after all that back and forth, all that debate, what can we actually learn from this? Let's try and distill all of that community wisdom down into some real, actionable advice that anyone, whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned pro, can take away from this project. Okay, here they are. 3 golden rules. First, and I want you to say this with me, backups are not RAID. A mirrored drive is great, but it won't save you if you accidentally delete a critical file or get hit by ransomware. You need a separate, real backup. Second, if you're gonna dance with ZFS on consumer drives, you absolutely have to monitor their health. And third, always, always plan for growth. The size of your media library or the number of cameras you have today, well, that's just not what it's gonna be in a year. All right, so where do we land on this build? After looking at the hardware, the mission, all the debates, what's the final call? Is this a setup you should copy, or is it one you should maybe avoid? The verdict is in. This is a fantastic build. Seriously, it's a rock-solid starting point that just perfectly embodies that home lab spirit. It's all about balancing real-world needs with that desire to experiment and push the boundaries a little. It's not trying to be a flawless, multi-thousand-dollar enterprise machine. It's a smart, practical, and really powerful solution for an enthusiast. Which, of course, leaves us with one last question. For you, this build is solid, but it did get called out for one tiny but painfully sharp detail: untrimmed zip ties. So, as you're thinking about your own setup, ask yourself, is it powerful? Is it resilient? And have you used flush cuts on your cable ties? Because as we all know, the details really do matter.